So let's start. So previously in Tyranny of Dragons, after encountering and defeating several mercenaries working for the Cult of the Dragon, you tied them up and marched them east to Mordai Vel's residence. It turned out to be an ancient pyramid half covered by weed and vegetation. When you approached it, you could definitely hear a man's voice shouting at someone, with noises of broken plates and other arguments following. Obviously, Mordai was having some sort of an argument with his wife. The wizard, with a pair of strange-looking goggles strapped on his eyes, opened the door after you knocked on it, and immediately jumped back as he laid his eyes on Azael. And immediately after that, he asked you, Azael, if you are a demon wearing a human or a human wearing a demon. Even after you explained the urgency of your mission, which is basically to alert El Turel about the ongoing raid in Greenest, he continued to be fascinated by Azael's condition. And only after you stressed the fact that you are on a very urgent mission, he admitted that he can't cast any spells. His wife took the key to his spellbook. And he basically said that he can't reason with her. So you decided to go and try to fix things yourself. He told you that his wife has white hair and blue eyes and warned you against talking with her about her weight. He did give Roscoe a jar of cookies that she liked. You ascended the pyramid and entered the halls upstairs, and you were hoping to persuade her to return the key, but it turned out that his wife is a huge white spider with 8 blue eyes, and huge means horse size. So you managed to kill it, but only Azael is conscious and in command of his own body. All the rest are either paralyzed or unconscious. And after you killed it, Azael had only a minute to regain his breath as a swarm of tiny white spiders poured into the room. And this is where we stopped last time. Azael, if I remember correctly, you have a mirror image on you.
Yes,
and
one of the mirror images are down.
Right, but I don't remember if you took the inspiration given to you by Thokk. Not sure if you used it, but I think you have an inspiration die.
Whatever inspiration I had before, I used it in order to kill to get away from the spider.
Okay. Here you go. You have a swarm of spiders crawling into the room. They are crawling around their dead mother's body and basically carpeting the room with their presence. What do you do?
I'm starting to get everyone as far away from them as possible. Do I recall that Thokk had healing potions on him?
I think it's safe to assume that you do.
So I quickly go to Thokk, grab one of his healing potions, and give it to him. Have him drink it.
Okay. You can roll for that extra hit points. Azael or Thokk, whoever wants to do it. Great.
So yeah, that's good.
I'm assuming he's conscious now.
Yep.
But this time I'm still holding Thokk by the collar. Wake up! We got to get everybody out of here.
Okay. Anything else except going to him and
trying to get everybody out to safety, away from the spiders. So I'm gonna grab Roscoe.
Do I see the box of cookies that Roscoe was carrying?
So yeah, he's carrying it under his armpit, and one hand was inside probably because you can see some of the cookies are missing. He probably ate some.
Okay, I grab the tin of cookies and I scatter it on the floor.
Okay, great. So as you do, you indeed see that most of the tiny spiders kind of swarm around the cookies, as if they really, really like it. So this probably bought you some time, Azael and Thokk. So Roscoe is still down, and Tal is paralyzed. So we'll skip their turns. Thokk, what do you want to do?
I grab Roscoe and start dragging him up towards the entrance.
Okay, so let's see if the spiders notice your presence while they're busy with the cookies. So they'll simply make a saving throw against their favorite food, which they fail miserably. So you manage to grab Roscoe. Are you trying to grab Tal as well?
I can only handle one.
Okay, great. So with Roscoe, you don't need any roll. So you pick him up and...
I only weigh 40 pounds.
Yeah, no problem. So Thokk, you find yourself outside, breathing the clean air and watching the stars above with Roscoe under your armpit. Do you descend the stairways or do you stay where you are?
I wait to see if Azael follows with Tal.
Okay. Azael,
Yes.
as you try to grab Tal or even approach him, some of the spiders do manage to... basically, you're stepping on them as you go. So some of them are agitated and they will try to bite you. So they rolled a modified 16 on their attack roll. Does this hit?
Let me roll a d20 real quick. 14.
So remind me what how does your spell work? I never remember.
So I'll have 3 duplicates,
Yeah.
and if I roll a 6 or higher, it targets one of the duplicates.
Awesome.
With 2 duplicates, I have to roll an 8 or higher.
Okay.
And the last duplicate is 11 or higher. So
Great.
it
So
attacked one of the duplicates.
Great.
And the DC for it is 10 plus my dexterity, so it's just 10.
what DC? Sorry.
It's just going to be 10.
What is the DC used for? I mean, who is rolling what?
No, AC. It's AC is 10
Oh,
plus
sorry,
his
AC.
dex mod.
AC. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Great.
AC.
No problem. Okay, so one of your duplicates crumbles as a ton of spiders crawl all over it, but you manage to get out. Do you grab Tal?
Yes.
In this case, I need you to make a strength check, just to make sure you can drag him easily.
14.
Yeah, with a 14, you do manage to grab him, and you all find yourself out. The spiders don't come out to the outside of the room. They stay inside, crunching or eating the cookies. Okay. So, what do you do now?
Can we assume this is a safe enough place for a short rest?
As safe as being next to a room full of spiders. You're not sure. You're not sure what will happen when they'll finish the cookies.
I'm gonna keep going.
Okay.
Thokk, let's get out of here.
Okay.
Instead of going down, is there a room to go around the side or behind the pyramid?
Yes, you
Just
can.
away from the entrance?
Yes, you can position yourself on the opposite side of the entrance or on any side of the square room. You can see it on roll 20 on the image. Basically, looks the same. Or sorry, you don't see the roll 20 image because I haven't done this. Now you should see it.
Yeah, let's move around the back side and then take a rest.
Okay.
Let's go.
Great. So you do sit, laying your backs against the wall, and if you do take a short rest, then both Tal and Roscoe come about. I'm assuming you can heal Roscoe with another potion, and Tal's paralysis is gone.
Yep, I'll give my my last potion to whoever needs it.
Okay.
And
So Roscoe, you wake up with an empty cookie jar.
Hey! Where's Mordivel? I have some questions.
I think we all have questions for him. Rest up, and then we'll head to find Mordivel.
Okay. So after you complete your rest and take your potions and heal,
Can we spend hit dice also?
yeah, it's a short rest.
Oh, okay.
We can only spend up to our maximum, right?
correct. I'm going to spend both of my last 2 hit dice, which puts me up to maximum. And with the Song of Rest, everybody gets 1 extra hit point.
Yeah, sometimes the one hit point is the difference between life and death.
Nice. I'm almost at full.
Great. Okay. I need you all as you come around and... Yep,
We haven't taken a long rest in quite a while, have we?
correct. Actually, 2
Okay,
days.
then.
So two actual not game days, but Forgotten
Yeah, 2
Realms
sessions.
days. No, 2 days. You are awake for almost 24 hours now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take a long rest.
Yeah, soon, because all I've got left is like nothing.
I think before we do, remember that there's an emergency, and we came here because there's an emergency, and I think we should. Did you guys get the key?
No, room's full of thousands of little spiders. Do you have like some oil or anything flammable on you?
Huh.
I can cast fire.
You have a flame cantrip?
I have firebolt.
That might work, but we'd have to go search the room full of spiders.
We're gonna have to go back, see if we can find the key.
I guess we go back.
All right, we start heading back to the area where the spiders were.
Okay, in this case, when you do, you find the spiders basically covering their mother's body, and they're obviously eating her.
From this distance, can we see any sort of key or anything that resembles a key?
Make a perception check. You can all do as you all peer into the room.
21 for Roscoe.
11.
Okay, so
9 for me.
Roscoe, you do notice some sort of a collar around the spider's bulbous head, and you do see some things. It could be gems, it could be any other kind of ornaments. Something shiny is attached to that collar.
What's the collar made out of?
Leather. It's really hidden, the folds of her skin basically make it hard to make out what exactly is on it, but you do notice it.
Okay, can I approach quietly, doing my best not to disturb any of the little spiders, and try to cut it off of her neck?
Sure, make a stealth check as you try to sneak into the room.
Before Thokk goes, I touch him and cast guidance.
Okay, so you can add a d4 to that check. Okay, so an overall
Which brings me up to a 12.
12. Okay, let's see if the spiders notice you. Well, actually, they're not. Okay, so you sneak into the room very, very quietly, basically eyeing this huge spider being eaten by its own siblings, which is a very disturbing sight. And you do make it very close to the body without being noticed by the tiny spiders.
Okay, I'm going to try to cut the collar loose.
Okay, so you have another guidance, and you basically reach out, and you can actually see how those tiny spiders crawl in and out of their mother's mouth, mandibles. They gnaw on her eyes. Very, very disgusting.
Better her than us.
Make a dexterity check.
Straight dex or sleight of hand?
If you have sleight of hand, you can do that. Awesome. Okay, that's the role of the session goes to Will. You manage to cut the cord, and indeed into your arm falls a leather collar. It has 3 rubies embedded into it, and a small delicate golden chain with a key attached to it. So you have it in your hands.
I start motioning Thokk to come back.
Okay.
Just a second.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, I was answering a question for my wife.
Oh, fine.
I'm going to extricate myself from the room just as quietly as I went in, hopefully.
Okay, so I needed to make another stealth check and a perception check. Okay. So, as you back off, again, you manage to do it quietly enough so you won't...
and add 4 to the stealth roll from the guidance.
Yeah, I see it. No, that's fine. They didn't watch you leave. You, however, managed to witness 3 runes, basically etched, on the back side of the collar where it touches the neck. You have managed to cut one of the runes, so it's hard to read it, but the other runes do make out the outline of a spell, but you're not. Are you proficient with the Arcana? You want to try and read it now, or?
Let's get away from the spiders first.
Okay. Great. So you find yourself outside with the rubies, the golden key, and realizing that the collar has some sort of runes on its backside.
Okay. Is anyone proficiency in Arcana?
I have proficiency in Arcana. Why do you ask?
There's some kind of spell on the inside of this collar. You want to take a look?
Sure. Hand it over. I'll take a look real quick.
So make your check, an Arcana check. Okay, with that, you realize that this color is a magical item, a quite potent one. While you wear it, or it's fixed, when it will be fixed, if you wear it, you'll be able to cast the Charm Person spell. You're not sure you're not sure the details, how many times, etc., but it definitely grants this ability.
Looks like this gives a wearer the ability to cast Charm Person spell. Here, take it back, Thokk. I don't know if it'll be useful in the future, but you earned this. Let's go back to the wizard.
Let's go.
Okay. Descending the pyramid, you find yourself in Mordai's room. He is basically pouring over the fire and cooking something. He turns around when you enter the room, and you again see him staring at you through his goggles.
Hey, you! You tricked us! You didn't tell us your wife was a giant spider. We almost died. That was mean.
He says, "What? What are you babbling about?"
Your wife, your so-called wife, is a giant spider. And she almost killed us.
He looks at you and then at the dead halfling on his sofa, and then he smiles and he says, "Oh yes, yes." And then he approaches Azael and Thokk and kind of motions. His body language tells you that he cooperates with this little halfling games. Yes, of course, it's a spider. And then he looks at you. "Oh, you found the key. Great."
Well, I'm quite upset. Just give him the meanest look.
I don't think he knew.
Well, if you don't believe us, you can go upstairs and look for yourself.
I won't go up.
Have you ever been upstairs?
Well, of course I've been upstairs. Last time I've been there, she took my key. We had a fight.
And how did she take your key?
She asked me to put it on the table, and then she screamed at me to leave. I don't want to go
what's
upstairs.
With the giant spider?
What giant spider?
The key was on the spider.
And he looks at all of you and he says, what you are? You didn't smoke the vegetation, the weeds that grow on the side of the pyramid, right?"
Can I grab the cuff of his robe
Yes.
on the sleeve and say, Mordai, you're coming with me. We're going upstairs.
He
What
rolls.
insight check?
Okay. So with that inside check, you do feel that he's very, very confused at this moment. He's not sure what do you want from him. But he kind of rolls his eyes, and since you have the key, he agrees to follow Roscoe. But I'm telling you, she won't like it. She doesn't like me. I just said one time I said that the dress doesn't fit her. And look what happens. She'll take the key again.
Well, let's go talk to her then. Let's see what she has to say. Go ahead, Roscoe, take him.
He ascends the steps with you, Roscoe, mumbling about his annoying wife all the way up.
Yeah, I'm actually just... I'm about as frustrated as he is, if not more. So.
Okay. When you do reach to the top, he peeks his head inside and says, "No. And then he lays his eyes on the giant spider. And then he looks at you with a very, very, very angry, furious eyes. What have you done to my wife?
I pull the goggles off his head.
He starts to scream, no, no! I need you to make a dexterity check. He's old, so you do have... Okay, that's easily done. So you basically rip the goggles from his eyes. Now you can see that they're actually very, very red, bloodshed, like the goggles were there for a long, long period of time. You can see that, you know, he didn't wash his face or clean them for probably years. He immediately put his hands on his eyes and starts screaming. A minute after that, he removes his hand, starts to blink, and then he sees the huge spider. Horror basically covers, or he looks at this giant thing and immediately understands that the goggles made him think she was the beautiful woman he saw. He falls to his knees and starts to basically sob. My wife. No, what? What? How did that happen?
I don't know. But we have the key now, and we have an emergency. So get up, and let's go back downstairs.
But, 2 years. I've been with her for 2 years. He looks again at the body being eaten by the tiny spiders. And you, Roscoe, believe that he is about to go into shock. You're not sure how stable he was before watching this, but obviously his mind is under attack, basically. What do you do?
Well, everybody makes mistakes. I lost my whole family. Let's go back downstairs.
Yes, let's go back downstairs. It's a good idea.
You'll feel better when you can open your spellbook.
So this is for him, Zeal.
For Roscoe.
Oh, for Roscoe. Okay. So Roscoe, do roll a persuasion check.
F4 or the D4.
Yeah, so he basically stays down on his knees watching the horror show of the creature that he thought was his wife being eaten by tiny, tiny spiders, and he starts to drool.
Pick him up and carry him downstairs.
I motion to tell Tal to... Oh, go ahead and grab this old fool and let's take him back downstairs. Maybe we can break him out of this.
Okay, so Tal does exactly that with the help of Thokk. You both easily manage to lift him, and descending the pyramid, you manage to basically lay him on the sofa next to the body of the halfling that you picked up. So he's there basically watching the ceiling. You do have the key to his spellbook, though.
Do you think, guys, should we open the spellbook, see what's in there?
What can we
Maybe
do
there's-
to revive him? What can we do to make him snap out of this?
Let's open the spellbook.
Maybe there's something in the spellbook.
Okay.
I'll go into his kitchen and I'll start going through the cabinets and the drawers and see if there's any like medicine or.
Okay.
We'll grab the spell book.
He's an elderly gentleman. He probably has a heavily stocked medicine cabinet somewhere.
Okay, so Roscoe, as you go and start poking into his closets, Azael, you take the key and unlock the spellbook, and immediately you find something very interesting in that spellbook. Half of it, so think about it this way: if the spellbook had, let's say, 1,000 pages, the last 500 are basically burnt away. So all you have left is basically a half of a spellbook, and it's written on a parchment, a very, very old parchment, with ink that resembles, let's say, it's deep, deep purple, almost black, but it's not exactly black, like a tattoo that has been, on the skin for a long time. So it kind of faded a little bit. And you doubt that a human wrote this spellbook. All over it are marks of claws, basically stained with ink.
Do I recognize the language at all?
So as you watch and as you look at the spell book, the letters kind of arrange themselves, so you suddenly can simply read it. Thokk, for you, if you pour over Azael's shoulder, it looks like some sort of infernal, or a dialect of infernal. But unless you can read infernal, you can't read what it says. But you could, if you wanted, to basically investigate or research it for a while in order to actually read it, because it is arcane language. So if you're proficient with magic, you do have a chance to read it.
I'll leave it with Azael, and I'm going to take the collar and go sit over in a corner and cast Identify on it as a ritual.
Okay. So as you do that, Roscoe, you indeed find a small chest on one of the shelves with a healing kit, basically made out of herbs and ointments, in addition to 2 healing potions that were marked as such. You do also find 1 bottle with a red liquid on it, and there's a label on top of it that says youth.
Huh. Is there anything like smelling salts or something that, could be used to kind of revive somebody who seems to be out of it?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Okay, so I will. I'll make a mental note of the things. I don't take anything because that would be stealing and that would be wrong. But I will ask for them.
Okay.
At some point, if he revives, and if he doesn't, then I will take them.
Great.
But so I'll take the smelling salts and bring them over to the old man, and.
Okay. So while you do that, and while Azael is basically reading the book, Thokk, you manage to cast your ritual and actually identify the item. So basically, after fixed, probably a mending spell would do that. You think it should be fine. Wearing this collar will allow you to cast Charm Person once per day, but you have a strange feeling after casting the ritual and reading the runes that maybe, just maybe, there is an aura of, should I say, alteration around this collar. You suddenly start to question, maybe Mordai's wife was really human when he met her. You're not sure. Maybe the collar has something to do with how she looked when you killed her.
Okay. So while I'm here and doing it, I'm going to also cast the Identify Ritual on the goggles.
Okay. So you cast your spell and realize that the two are linked. The goggles basically, if you put the goggles on someone else's eyes, they latch on like a cursed item, and then you can set what the man or the woman wearing it will see when they'll watch you. So they can basically alter your form if you to whatever you want in the eyes of the beholder, let's say. I hope I'm clear.
So if I'm wearing the collar,
Yep.
and I put the goggles on somebody else, I can make them see me however I want them to.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm going to pry anything of value off of both items
Okay.
and then toss them in the fire.
Okay. So you do manage to take 3 rubies from the collar and 2 lenses, which when you look very, very close at them, they are covered with tiny, tiny, tiny runes. But once you dismantle the goggles, they lose whatever magic they had in them, but they still may be considered object of arcane interest. And at this point, Mordai wakes up. Azael, you learn the name of the spellbook you are reading. The name of the spellbook is Beyond the Iron Gates. You do believe it was written by a demon. Its first half basically contains a lot of summoning and banishing and protection and divination spells. The other half is burnt. Now you're not sure what was in that other half, but while you pour over it, and exactly when Mordai wakes up, the wizard basically looks up and says, that other half had names of demons etched into its pages. I burned them. I didn't want anything to do with demons.
Do you remember anything that was in those?
There were hundreds of names. Names you could find etched at the iron gates that leads to the 9 hells.
This is your spell book.
No, it is a copy of the original one.
It's a copy of the original spell book?
Not my original spellbook, a spellbook I found. There are rumored to be 3 of those books called Beyond the Iron Gates. If you look at each of the copy, they all differ somewhat. It is said that when someone collects all 3, he will be able to call upon the might of even the strongest archdevils residing in the 9 hells. This is the reason I burnt the other half, to make sure this never happens. But even as such, the book is very powerful.
You don't mind if I take this?
Wait, Mordai, you promised there's an emergency. You have to send a message to El Terrell that Greenness is under attack right away.
And Mordai says, "Of course, I will do that. There is a sending spell in this book that I can use to contact the Temple of Helm in El Turel."
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
let's go ahead
waiting,
and do
I
it.
kind of like cross my arms and I'm tapping my feet and swinging around my spoon.
Okay. So Mordai stands up. He goes to a small bowl on the table near the fireplace and basically washes his eyes for the first time in a lot of in 2 years probably. And then he picks up the book and he asks you all to stand next to him. So the recipient of the spell will be able to see you all. And then he will...
I take Nibbles out of my pocket so that the recipient can see Nibbles.
Awesome. And then he hands the book to you, Azael, and asks you to basically keep it open in front of him. He says that this spell is an empowered version of the sending spell. So if you can simply hold the book in front of him, it will make things easier for him.
I do just that.
Okay.
Okay. I don't really trust this guy, so I'm going to stand behind him and I'm going to draw my dagger, sir, when he cannot see me.
Okay. Mordai starts to cast the spell. Thokk, since you don't trust him, do you have... you're not proficient in Arcana, right?
No, I'm not. I've just got a basic +1.
Okay. Nevertheless, make an intelligence check, a straight check. Okay. So, Mordai starts to cast the spell. After a short while of, he's moving his hands, he cries out in his arcane language, and mist, basically red mist, starts to form around all of you. And when the mist coils, you can see the face of someone wearing a helmet. You can't make out the details, but it does look like some sort of a cleric or a knight with a helmet shaped sort of, think about it this way. On the forehead there is a plate showing off the holy symbol of Helm, basically a fist or a hand. When this head takes its shape, Mordai motions you, Azael, and the rest of you guys to speak up.
Hi, I'm Roscoe. This is Nibbles. We're calling you because Greenest is under attack. A dragon cult is attacking them, and they need help. And so you have to help them right away. Bye.
When you say that, the shape basically turns into something else. Thokk, since you are very, very alert, you immediately see that this shape grows horns. And then it turns to say something to Mordai. But you were alert, so what do you do?
I shove my dagger into Mordai's back.
Okay, make an attack roll. Awesome. Damage, please. Okay. So you plunge the dagger into Mordai's back, and you can see the red figure starts to say something in a throaty voice, a deep, deep voice that basically shudders you, like it's clutching your heart and your spine. Let's see if Mordai can hold his spell. Ooh, awesome. So Mordai rolled a 1. So he loses concentration of the spell. I need you all to make wisdom saving throws.
Is this a fear effect?
Nope. I will roll for Tal. Saving throws. Wisdom. Oop. Awesome. So, Azael, Roscoe, and Thokk, the mist coils around you, grabs you, chokes you, and fills your eyes, nostrils, and lungs. When the red curtain parts, you find yourself in a very, very, very strange place. Thokk, you did hear Mordai's shriek as the blade entered his back. You did notice him losing his spell, but you thought you saw a smile on the horned figure's face. When the mist part, what you can see is this endless plain full of wreckage. The wreckage is of boats, of toppled towers, of ships, of metal objects you do not immediately recognize. You can see carts and catapults and other machines obviously meant for war, like cannons and ballistras, all in different stages of of rot, and everything is broken and obviously without use. And this plane is endless. You can see the wreckage field wherever you in whatever direction you look. Just in front of you is a fort, a crumbling fort with a red flag above it. The flag is tattered, and obviously parts of it are burnt. This is right in front of you. To the left of you is a canyon, and at the far end of the canyon, something like a mile or two, you can see two huge mountains, and between them, two iron gates. The red mist is covering everything, and the feel is like a place, after the explosion of a nuclear bomb. So the skies are yellow, and there is this fume all over. Tal is not with you.
Do I recognize this place at all?
No. When you look around, you all can see or hear someone is moving through the wreckage very, very close to you. You can see, a stone getting loose and falls. You can see the wheel of a broken cart suddenly turns. You can see a sword stuck in the ground moves and falls, like someone is running through the rubble searching for something.
Gotta roll a perception check to see if I notice anything.
Yes, you can do that.
$17.
Okay. So you do notice a leathery creature with wings, basically tucked around his body, running through the rubble. It has yellow eyes and sharp teeth. He's small, halfling size, and he basically talks to himself while he is running through the rubble, and you can't hear what he says, but he's obviously looking for something or someone.
Right. Go ahead and tell the rest of the guys, or motion to that direction so they can see what I see.
I'll telepathically talk to you, Azael, and ask, where are we? What do we do? Should we try to catch it and talk to it? Should we try? What do we do?
I don't know where we're at. This is so strange. I'm not sure if we should approach that thing. I don't know if it's going to be violent or what.
All the rest of you can also make perception checks. Okay, so Roscoe, you, as you look around, also notice next, right near the opening where the canyon starts, where the land drops and the canyon starts, you can see a set of caves or cave openings there. One of them seems to have two totem poles on its sides. But that's basically all you see. A fort in front of you, a canyon, one cave opening with two totem poles on its sides, and the iron gates further down the canyon. And the creature, of course.
Yeah, I really like this.
I've got a really bad feeling about this, guys. I mean, based on the book that he was reading from, we may be outside the gates of hell.
Then let's go towards the iron gates. Maybe
What?
that's the way out.
So you think we're outside the iron gates of hell and you want to go to the gates? No! I'm not going to the gates.
Do you know any other way out?
Well, that's the way in!
Aren't
Or
we
maybe it's
in
the way
hell right
out.
now?
Which
Maybe.
side of the gate are we on? Huh. Let's
I'm
catch
not
the
sure.
thing. Let's catch the
You
thing.
want to capture the thing?
Yeah, let's catch the thing. I want to ask questions.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I'm feeling a little scared and overwhelmed, so I'm going to do what any decent 16-year-old would do in this situation. I'm going to find some place to hide and hope the spell ends soon.
Okay, so you can find shelter under an overturned cart. You think it's a cart. It's made of metal, and it has like chains around its wheels. Very strange, but you can definitely find shelter there.
Roscoe, you really want to approach this thing?
Well, I don't know what else to do. There's some caves over there with a totem pole sticking outside. It's small. I'm small though, and I'm dangerous, so maybe it's also small and dangerous. I don't know.
If you want to approach it, go ahead. I'll be right behind you, but get ready to fight. So just taking out your spear or something.
Okay, so I'll take out my spear and I'll kind of walk toward this creature and I'll call out to it. Can you? Hi, I'm Roscoe. We want to talk to you. Can you come here?
He sticks his head up, drops something that he was carrying, and he reaches out fast to his back, take out a scroll and then says, Roscoe Truffle-Nose?
Yes, Roscoe Truffle-Nose. How did you know my last name?
I've been expecting you. There was more people with you. Azael and Bok.
That's almost right. Who are you?
My name is Pazuzu.
Where are we, Pazuzu?
Very, very close to dying.
Is that what that fort is called? Or the gate? Or the cave?
No. This is about you being through the gates very soon, when Levistus comes.
Who's that?
He is the one that set the trap. The trap to bring you here. All we need to do is cut you open and remove your hearts, and then we can free the soulmonger.
But I don't want you to do that.
Well, I'm afraid no choice. And then he basically approaches you, still looking at his scroll. Truffle-Nose, you say? And he basically shows you the scroll. And indeed, you see a small picture of you and your name next to the picture of Azael, Thokk, and Talrashar. Your names are misspelled horribly, but you do identify your own picture.
Can I sort of ask him to hand me the scroll for a moment?
Yes, sure. Here it is.
Okay, I'll pass it to Azael. He's a reader.
So you, who are you? It's the picture. Oh, you Azael. Yes, your heart is very important to Levistus.
No, I'm not Azael. You must have me confused with someone else.
You look like Azael, and he points at the picture. Very similar.
At this time, I rub across my upper lip and cast minor illusion and put a mustache on myself.
Okay. Pazuzu looks at the scroll and then looks at you and then says, "Oh no, wait. Picture don't have mustache. Must be a very, very bad mistake. But if you are here, then well, you can't go back. No one got back."
How does one get back?
No, get back. You only move forward to the gates.
Forward,
Levistus.
what happens when you move forward?
What forward? You only have the gates here. Unless you want to fight an endless war against the forces of Acheron.
Acheron. Who's that?
That's where you are. On the plane of Acheron. The plane of endless war.
And who's in charge here?
Levistus. He's a mighty, mighty devil. He set the trap, and you, or one of you, is holding the soulmonger. We are not sure who.
In order to get out of here, we just need to go through the gates?
No, you need to leave your hearts with Levistus, and then you can go through the gates. Anyone has something to eat? I haven't eaten for a long time. The last battle here was 600 years ago, and I'm starving.
So what's with the gates?
I take out some rations and hand it to him.
So he munches on your rations. Oh, this is very good. Been a long, long time since I've been on the material plane. The gates?
I'm a good cook.
You're a cook?
I am a cook.
So let's cook something. Let's eat. I haven't eaten something edible for a long, long time. I mean, Kikimora sometimes come here and tries to feed me things, but I don't want to eat what she has. He points at the cave.
Who is that?
Mora.
Yes, Kikimora, she guards the gates.
Guards the gates from what?
Well, you see, Levistus, he is in charge of this plane, and she guards the gates, so he won't pass to the Nine Hells.
That's the gates of the Nine Hells?
Yes. I don't understand. You come here without knowing where you... Oh, that was the trap, yes. You are not supposed to be here, I understand. Yes, this is the gates to the Night Hells. It is not a very pleasant place to be, but it's a place.
How do we get back to where we were?
He scratches his head. Well, maybe Kikimora knows. But if Levistus hears that you were talking to Kikimora, he will be very, very angry. Maybe he will take your hearts before you are dead.
I don't think the order is so important. Maybe it is. I don't know. I think we should go talk to her. I have some questions.
You want to go and talk
Yes,
to...
Roscoe.
You want to go and talk to Kikimora. She is good with words. She will make you do things for her. Maybe things you don't want her to do or want to do for her. She's very good at that. I once ate an apple she gave me and had to spend 200 years in the material plane.
An apple, you said.
Yes. She wanted me to find an eye for her. Had to look for 200 years for a suitable eye.
Does she have more of those apples?
Oh, she have a lot of things. Very, very good food, and she has good women and good men, and all kinds of pleasantries and delights. But then you are, well, basically fucked up. You see, this is the reason she is guarding the gates. Levistus can't stand her. He's afraid to talk to her even. She might even bend his will to her purposes. I really think you should stay and wait for Levistus. I can call him. It's only about...
Levistus.
Levistus.
Exactly.
Levistus is the devil responsible for maintaining this, and he spreads his hands and wings all around, showing off this endless battlefield. He thinks of all kinds of interesting war machines, and he tests them here. You see, no problem of...
How about you wait for Levistus, and you let us know when he comes. We'll go talk to the lady over there in the cave.
He looks at the scroll and then at you, and he says, well, okay, nothing in my contract prevents that. I can do that. But I must tell you, he'll be very, very angry if he heard that you talk to Kikimora.
Well, this will be our little secret, right?
He smiles. But you can see that his smile is, full of very, very sharp teeth, so it makes you uneasy. But it is a smile. Pazuzu will wait here, and will tell Levistus you went to Kikimora.
Let's go, Roscoe. Let's go get Thokk and go talk to this Kikimora.
Okay, I don't know what to do.
I don't think any of us knows what to do here.
You could go to the fort and simply wait out. There will be a battle soon. You can participate. It should be fun. You can fight, and then you can die, and then you go up again, and you can fight, and then you die, and then you can go up again. It's really, really interesting. Levistus always comes to watch those fights. Fascinated by them. Maybe he will detonate another one of his great bombs, and then he points to the sky, which are scorched.
Gonna grab Roscoe and start heading towards Kikimora's cave. We'll grab Thokk along the way.
Okay. So Thokk, both Azael and Roscoe come visiting you under the overturned tank.
I don't like it here.
None of us like it here. We just talked to this thing over here. Apparently, they want to carve our hearts out. I'm not too fond of that.
I'm rather attached to mine.
He did mention a lady named Kukamora that doesn't like the devil that guards this area. So I'm thinking that maybe that's a person that we should talk to over that devil.
He mentioned that there was an apple that he ate that sent him back to the material plane. So it sounds like that's something she can do.
Then I guess we go.
Okay,
Because
moving.
if this was a temporary spell, it would have ended by now.
Okay,
I really hate that wizard. Like, a lot.
That wizard had something very bad coming to him. But we gotta get out of here first.
okay. You start marching toward the canyon, and you find it, an interesting trip because you are exposed to all kinds of machinery, strange designs of war machines, weapons. What catches your eye is that, the opposite of that is that you don't see any bodies everywhere. It's like a huge, huge dumpster of old war machines and gear. But it takes you a few hours, you think. There's no sun here, so you're not sure how much time passed. The sky are lit by this haze without a very specific source of light. So it takes you think, a couple of hours to reach to where the cave opening is. You find
Can I
it...
ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So back when we were making the characters and we rolled for trinkets, what I got was a sheet of parchment upon which is drawn a complex mechanical contraption.
Interesting.
And Roscoe has no idea, of course, what that is. I mean, he's barely literate, so he's just kind of been keeping it in his pocket. But does anything that we see strike me as being similar to that drawing?
Yes. As you pass through the piles of rubble, you indeed find a device very similar to what is drawn on your parchment. It looks like a backpack now that you hold it in your arms, but all kinds of strange tubes and chains and pipes are jutting out of it. But there are two straps that you can hold it and put it, strap it to your back.
Okay, I'll pick it up and sort of take the drawing out of my pocket and notice that it looks like the same, and I'll point it out to Azael and Thokk. Look, it looks just like the picture. What do you think it does?
I don't know.
So Azael, when you look at it, and Thokk, when you too look at it, it becomes immediate to you. You immediately realize that whatever this device do, the drawing that Roscoe is holding, he probably can't read it or can't comprehend completely what it does. But you think the pipes and tubes should go into someone's body. And according to the drawing, if you hold it in a certain way and read it in a certain way, you think it should replace someone's heart. So if someone's heart has to be taken out, this device could be used like some sort of a replacement. A very gory and unpleasant replacement, but nonetheless.
That looks disturbing. I suggest we move on.
Okay. You find yourself...
I'll take the contraption. I'll say, well, if one of us loses a heart, you know, we could use this.
Okay. When you continue and move forward toward the canyon's walls, you do find yourself in front of the cave openings. The totem poles that you saw from afar are basically two towers of skulls. First dragon, then giant, then human-sized skulls, and above them you can see something that looks like goblin skulls. They are all painted black with red paint, basically, splashed into their sockets. But other than that, there are no runes or any writings. The cave itself, when you peek inside, looks clean. You don't see any mechanical stuff in there. You don't see any thrown gear or something like that. And it looks like it's been modified, so maybe it was a natural cave a long time ago, but someone went through the walls and polished them, and so it kind of looks right in between a natural cave and something that someone constructed.
I just yelled in the cage, Kikimaru!
When you shout the name Kikimora, a transparent figure appears deep within the cave. You can see that she is, or at least she looks like a very, very old woman. She is there and not there. She is very, very tall with a robe that falls to her feet, but there are no feet. They her feet and the robe simply disappears into mist like smoke that is being poured from a bottle. She whispers, "Yes."
Kikimura, we understand that you don't have any love for Leviathan?
Levistus.
Levistus. We come to see if we can get out of here. He's
We don't like
seeking
it
us.
here. Can you send us back home?
She says, "Come in."
I go ahead and walk in.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll follow.
So you three go into the cave, and this transparent figure basically backs off until the opening seems to be very, very far. And then you can see that her form basically radiates this weak light. So you do see your surroundings, but not very clear. So you find yourself in a round room with a pool of water basically in the middle of it. And this Kikimora, she floats above the water, and her smoky form basically falls into the water in waves, but she keeps coalescing back into existence. Around her, you can see blackened trees with fruits on top of them. The trees look dead and rotten, but the fruits look delicious. bananas and apples and all kinds of fruit, exotic and mundane. She looks at the three of you and she says, "The soulmonger is among you. Who is it that carries it?"
I think I'm the one who carries the soulmonger.
Levistus didn't approve for the soulmonger to go to the material plane. The soulmonger was kidnapped. Levistus' wrath knows no bounds.
And you have no love for this Levistus.
Levistus seeks to dominate the nine hells. He must not be allowed to do that. If he will turn the world into this. And she points out to the exit.
So how do we
What's
stop Levistus?
What? Sorry.
Well, if Levistus wants the soulmonger, the easiest way to keep it away from him is to send us back to the material plane, right?
She looks at you, Thokk, and says, "The soulmonger must remain here, or he will be unleashed into the material plane.
What is the soulmonger?
The soulmonger is the key to godhood."
But you said the soulmonger must remain here. But if he remains here, wouldn't Levistus get a hold of it?
Levistus has no control of the soulmonger. The soulmonger belongs in the nine hells. Levistus belongs here.
How do we put the soulmonger back in the nine hells?
You have to trap him. Fully trap him, not in flesh form. There is a special vial that can do that. Back in the material plane.
And what is this vial? Where can I find it?
You can find it in El Turel, in Helm's Shield Hall. It is a temple of Helm, the god of protection. The vial can be used to trap any entity when the command word is spoken.
Do you know this command word?
I do.
What is this command word?
No, first you need to do something for me.
It's always a catch.
Always a catch. In El Turel, there is a spirit, a young, pure spirit, the spirit of a child, one that will maybe in the future ascend and find its place among angels. The spirit now belongs to a young child, no more than 4 years old. She lives in the temple with her parents, her unsuspecting parents. I need the name of that child.
And once you have the name of this child, what then?
You can use the name of the child to lure the soulmonger out of your body and into the vial. You think, and basically you all get the feeling that she isn't completely honest with you. You do know that names have a lot of power, especially in these realms. So maybe she's telling the truth. The name will help you lure the soulmonger out, but her knowing the name might have repercussions. And she smiles as if she knows that you know.
Yeah, there's not much inside there.
I can send you back to the temple, to Helm's Shield Hall. But when you get there, you will find the child. You will ask her of her name, and you will give it to me. Or I will hand you to Levistus myself.
We'll do whatever's in our power.
She smiles, and she goes to one of the trees, and she picks up 3 apples. The apples basically hover in mid-air as her transsucculent hands pick them up. And when she does, you can see that when she tore the apple from the tree, a drop of blood fell from the connection point, from the stem. And then she hands each of you an apple, and she says, "This is a bargain to be made. A name for a doorway to the material plane. The name of the spirit, pure enough to lure the demon out."
And that's what you want to do, is lure the demon out?
This is what you want to do.
I want to destroy it.
Is there blood in the bananas? Could I have a banana instead?
She looks at you and picks a banana for you. She smiles at you, Roscoe, and says, "I'm sorry." And then she hands the banana. And you, Thokk and Azael, you two awkwardly realize that she is really sorry for him for some reason.
What's going on here? Why are you sorry for him?
She says, his tragedy, his pain will ripple in the known realms. But
What tragedy?
that has yet to be determined. It didn't happen yet, but it will. And she smiles at you, Roscoe, and it is a kind smile, which you didn't expect from this apparition. When she picks up the banana, there is no blood coming out of the tree. She took care of that for you.
Huh. But this, that's pretty ominous. I thought I already... I lost my mother and my father, and my sister is missing, and what there's more tragedy. What else is going to happen to me?
She looks at all of you and says, "When the soulmonger is lured out, strike with all your might and unveil the flask. If you are lucky and fast and determined, he will be trapped. It is then when Levistus might reclaim him. Capturing it for him might be enough for him to spare your life."
All right, let's go. I go ahead and eat the fruit.
Okay. Thokk, Roscoe?
Follow.
Yes.
I'll eat the fruit.
Okay, so you all
Bite the
bite.
banana.
Yeah.
I leave the apple there on the ground.
So you all eat the fruits, and the red mist again engulfs you. And when you all vanish, just before the mist covers your eyes again, Roscoe, you can see her picking up the apple that you left. And she's simply holding it, looking at you, this sad expression on her face, this ghost above the water, and then the red mist cover your eyes as well. And this is where we'll stop for today.
Oh, heavy.
Indeed.
And guys, wherever we happen to end up, I recommend that we park for 8 hours and take a rest.
Yes, I think that's what we're gonna do. The very next thing.
Okay. Great. So thank you for showing up. And next Friday, as we said, there's no game. The Friday after that is the farewell party for Daniel and Azael, which should be. I'm looking for the right word. It should be interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
And I won't be there, so
Yeah, I'm sorry for that.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for it too. But I'm not sorry that I'm not sorry for the reason I won't be there. So.
Yeah, that's obvious. Okay, great. So thank you, guys, again.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And I'll guess I'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
See ya.
Yep.
Great.
And I'll see you in 3.
Yep. You can catch up once we upload the video to YouTube. And if you have, in the meantime, any questions, things you want to share, anything at all, feel free to ping me, and that's it.
All right.
Great. Okay, so have a great week, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, too. Bye-bye.
Bye.